So today we will start studying about the electoral process in our country, the process of elections in our country, India. As we do for any chapter when we start it new, we will look at the introduction. We will do a quick introduction or maybe a long introduction, and we will start studying the chapter in which we will study election commission. We have already studied something like this: we the people of India, democratic. Do you remember where you have seen these words? Where have you seen these words? We the people of India, democratic, and many other words also. Khadija, it is not just the preamble, it is the preamble of a specific thing. So I will combine what Khadija and Ankita are saying, that we have seen this in the preamble of the Constitution of India. We have seen it in the preamble of the Constitution of India. Yes. I hope you remember this book that we studied about in the previous chapter of political science. So this chapter, and not just this chapter, the entire course of political science this year is focused on this one part, one aspect of the preamble, one aspect of the promise that we, the people of India, have made to ourselves, and that is to make India a democratic country. Is to make India a democratic country, among other things. So what we are going to study in this particular chapter is how India is a democracy. Why do we say that India is a democracy, or how has India become a democracy, and how India remains a democracy? That is what we are going to understand. Are you able to recognize anything in the picture that you see on the screen now? And if you see something, can you identify what this place, what is happening at this place? What are the people doing? Yes. People are queuing up. People are standing in a queue, waiting for their turn to vote. This is an essential part of democracy. This is a process which is called elections. That is exactly what we will study in this chapter. Do you see something else on the right hand side of the picture? It's not people, something else. What is that? There's a machine, I think. Very good, Karthik. It's the voting machine. It's the voting machine. Before you were born, when elections happened in India, the voting happened with paper. There used to be a paper which is called a ballot paper, and all the names of the leaders who will be contesting the election would be there with their party, name of their parties and their symbols, and the people will go and put a stamp against the contestant that they want to vote for. But now it is electronic. The voting happens on a machine. This is a voting machine, so this is also called as electronic voting machine, in short EVM. We will study about this also in this chapter. Yeah, I'm talking about Tushar. I'm talking about India, Tushar. Yes, in America and many other countries, elections still happen in paper. We will understand how, why. We will understand what is good, what is not so good, what are the advantages and not disadvantages. We will understand. This is going to be an interesting chapter if you participate. How are we going to study this? The chapter is organized into two main parts. One is about an institution called Election Commission. Institution is organization. Institution is a group of people. Institution has a specific role. So when we study Election Commission, we will understand the structure of the Election Commission, its functions and its roles. We will also study, and this is more important for you, especially who are going to be the future voters of this country, is what changes we need to make in the electoral system. We will call that electoral reforms. What changes have been made and what more changes should be there to make it even better. You see another picture on the slide. Can you make a guess what is happening in this building? It's already written. It says Bharat Nirvachan Ayog, Election Commission of India. Muskan is saying voting is happening in this building. Okay, wrong answer. Someone else? Karthik is saying Election Commission of India. I know that it's a Election Commission of India, but what is this building about? Chand is saying discussion related to voting. Tushar, are you saying something?
Yes, sir. Here votes are counted, calculated.
Okay, Tushar is saying here votes are calculated. No. Good try though. Yes, Ankit?
They count the notes, they count the vote, and they tell that to the parties.
Very simple answer is this is the office of Election Commission. This is the office of the Election Commission. So all the work that Election Commission of India does happens in this building. This is where the people who make the Election Commission work. That is it. Simple. Voting doesn't happen here. Calculation, counting of the votes doesn't happen here. In this chapter, we will understand where it happens, how it happens. And this Election Commission of India is in Delhi. This building is in New Delhi. Is it clear how simple the question was and how simple the answer was? Need 5 confirmations? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So what we will do today is we will understand what democracy is, 2 processes that are extremely important, essential for democracy, that is the process of representation and the process of election. We can also say the concept of representation and the concept of elections. And we will also start studying about Election Commission. We will only focus on the structure of Election Commission today. What can you say about the picture that is there on the top right of your screen? What does it tell us about India? You see in the background, there is the Ashok Chakra, right? So this tells us that this is about India. What is it telling us? Yes, Tushar?
Anybody can vote.
Tushar is
No
saying
discrimination.
no discrimination. Okay. Prachi is saying in the chat diversity. Chand is saying different types of religion and their unity. Very good. Chanda is saying equality. Yes, these are the words I wanted to hear. That India is made up of many, many, many different people with different religion, with different type of culture, food habits, languages, the type of clothes that they wear. But the democracy that we have, it does not discriminate between people. People of all kinds are allowed to vote. Good. Now, can you guess what is it? What is the second picture about? The bottom right of your screen. Very simple question. I'm asking you very silly question. What is this symbol about?
Election Commission of India.
You just gave me a name. I don't know what it means. Incomplete answer, Aman. What we need to say is this is the symbol of Election Commission of India. It is the symbol of Election Commission of India. Very good, Chanda. That is the answer I was looking for. Symbol of Election Commission of India. If you in Mumbai in BMC, you would have seen the symbol of BMC in the things that you get from school. Similarly, many other organizations also have their symbols, and this is the symbol of Election Commission of India. Wherever you see this picture, you will know that this is related to Election Commission of India. Very good. So if this is what we are going to study today, let us begin. Democracy, we keep saying, and even I have told you many times when we were studying the previous chapter, it is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And it's a very simple sentence that in a democracy, people will run the government will work for the people, and the government will be made up of the people. Very simple. 3 prepositions: of, by, and for the people. But a very heavy sentence, very heavy sentence. That is what we will study in this chapter as to how to make this possible. Do you know who made this statement? Take a guess. Let's see what names you are going to guess. Who said this? This is a quote. Name the person who said democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Guess, Baba, guess. Rohit is saying that maybe Supreme Court said this. Chanda is saying maybe our parliament said this. Akhilesh and Rajesh are saying Baba Saheb Ambedkar. Okay, Prachi is saying Dr. Ambedkar said this. Ankit is saying maybe High Court said this. Let us see who actually said this. Abraham Lincoln. Remember, democracy came to India much later. If you have studied this in history, democracy first happened in Europe, then it went to America, and much later it came to India. So it was Abraham Lincoln who said this as part of a speech. Just a GK question. No one is going to ask you this in the board exam. Okay, so this is very interesting that we will not be slaves to anyone. We will have our own government. The government will work for us, and we will run the government. It sounds very good. But how do we do it? How exactly? Is it even possible? Is it even possible that the entire population is directly involved in the decision-making process? What is the population of India? How many people are there? Is it possible that everyone gets involved in the decisions that the country makes? Muskan is saying no. Muskan Sheikh, okay. What do you have to say? Prachi has already identified the picture, and Prachi is saying too many cooks spoil the broth. Yes. If everyone participates, it will be possible for everyone to participate if it is a small group of people. But if it is a big, very big group of people, then there will be too many views, and it will be very, very, very lengthy, time consuming to arrive at any decision if we have to ask every single person about everything. ना? अगर खाना सिर्फ मम्मी अकेले बनाएंगी, या फिर मम्मी बना रही है, तुम मम्मी को हेल्प कर रहे हो, लेकिन तुम अपने से नहीं, मम्मी का डायरेक्शन फॉलो कर रहे हो, then everything is fine. But if 2, 3, 4 people try to cook the same thing together, कोई नमक ज्यादा डालने को चाहेगा, कोई नमक कम डालने को चाहेगा, झगड़ा ज्यादा होगा और खाना कम होगा. So although we say that democracy is government of the people, for the people, by the people, it becomes impossible to involve everyone in the decision making process. This is the problem. So what is the solution? The solution is the concept of representation. In simple words, representation is the concept or process of where many people select a few people. Many is a large number. Select a few, a small number of people to work on their behalf. If you look at the picture at the bottom on the left hand side, everyone is deciding what the laws will be, what the rules will be by their votes. It can work if it is a small group. This may work in a classroom of 30 people. But if you are talking about a country of 100 million people, then it will not work. So what do we do? The people of the country, everyone, people of the country, they choose a few people who represent them. माने वो उनको represent करते हैं, उनकी बात वो आगे रखते हैं. And they actually run the government. They make the rules, they make the law. There is no other reason for representation. Ideally, in a democracy, I guess, which is called direct democracy, everyone should be directly involved in the making of the laws, rules, running the government. But it just becomes impossible when the population is too big. Will you now be able to answer why do we need representation? And especially in India? 5 confirmations. Yeah. So when you write this answer, it will help you if you know what the current population of India is. You can do a quick search, not now, after the class, and find out what is the current population of India. So now we have understood representation. Now, when we are saying representation, we are already introducing another concept कि हमको select करना है. We have to select our representative. Now, what is that? That's another process. But before we get into how we select that person, what kind of person would you like to choose? What should be the qualities of your representative? Give me the adjectives, give me the qualities that you want in your representative. If you want to speak, come out of mute and speak. If you have something to share as text, send it in the chat box. आपको आपका नेता कैसा चाहिए? And remember, these people are going to run the government. Okay. So Chand is saying kind and caring. You are going to vote very soon. Prachi is saying understanding and responsible. Okay. Understanding, जो हमको समझे. Responsible, जिम्मेदार. Chand is saying clever enough to make right decision. देखो. Let's call it knowledgeable. Okay. What else? What else would you like in your representatives? Think about it if you don't know yet. Karina is saying help the poor people. See, yes, help the poor people. I've got a long list by Chanda. Person who can run the country smoothly, helping to develop the country, responsible, honest, clear communication. Yes, all these things are necessary. Generally, we say that we want representatives who are efficient, वो अपना काम अच्छे से कर पाए. Honest, जो हमको सच बताएं. Trustworthy, जिन पे हम भरोसा कर सकें. Who respect the opinion of people. This is necessary because this is democracy. हम ही चुनकर भेजेंगे और वो हमको ही और हमारी बातों को रिस्पेक्ट ना करें, then it will not be that person will not be a good representative. Also, as Karina said, gives preference to the welfare of the people. लोगों के कल्याण के बारे में सोचे, उसके लिए काम करें. Shraddha is saying loyal. Yes, loyal to what? It's a good, very big question. Loyal to what? Aarti is saying supportive. Ankit is saying helping the poor. Right? Faithful. Yes. These are the qualities that we look or we should look at least in our representatives. So keep these in mind when you vote for anyone, when you participate in democracy and select your leader. So you know what kind of person you want. Then how are you going to select? Right? The process. How do we select? And the answer lies in elections. All of you know. You said voting, right? Voting is just one step of that process. The entire process is called election. Remember, this is not selection. This is not nomination. It is election. In nomination, कोई आएगा और बोलेगा अच्छा ये लीडर बनेगा. मान लो क्लास टीचर आते हैं और बिना कुछ सोचे, बिना कुछ पूछे, कुछ भी तुमसे पूछे कि तुम क्या चाहते हो, तुमको बोलेंगे ओके रोल नंबर 10 you will be the monitor for this week. That is nomination. But election means हम पूछेंगे बच्चों को अच्छा बताओ किसको क्लास का मॉनिटर होना चाहिए, आप किसको बनाना चाहते हो. That is election. And if you understand democracy, which again means government of the people, for the people, by the people, then it cannot work with nomination. It cannot work with selection. We have to use elections. Direct choice of the people. चाहे क्लासरूम हो, चाहे म्युनिसिपैलिटी हो, चाहे पंचायत हो, whether it is legislative assembly or it is the Lok Sabha. We need elections. Will you now be able to answer? And I'm not asking, the easy question is what is election? What are elections? But the high rigor question is, why do we need elections? Will you be able to answer? Try answer that. Why do we need election? I'm really happy with the answer that Chand has given. The main idea of democracy is that it is run, the government is of, for, and by the people. Right? So the people we need to know what the people want. And that can be done with the process of election. So this is the link. Why do we need election? Because to ensure that the government is for the people, by the people, of the people. Yes. Yes, Karthik. Through election, people exercise their choice. Correct. We can choose our leaders of our choice and for our good. Yes, Praj. Correct. Understand the question. The question was not what are elections. The question was why do we need elections? If there are no elections, then someone will be sad. अरे मैं तो इसको नेता बनाना चाहता था, मैं चाहता था कि वो बने. अरे. To avoid all those things, we have elections. But I'm happy that you are able to answer. But is it really that simple? Is it? Remember, you only said India is such a diverse country. Yes, we are united, but it is diverse. So many different people want different things. So the amount of work that goes into elections is not easy. It's huge. Not only that, if we allow to every person to express their opinion, then there is bound to be some clash, right? Not everyone will say the same thing. So there are some logistical problems, logistical operational, kisko karenge kaise? And there are some soft problems related to our thought process, human angles. So it is not that easy. Democracy is not simple. democracy is very, very difficult. And that is why we are studying this, so that you, I are able to make our democracy much more successful. So what we have now seen what democracy is. We have understood that we need the process of representation, and we also need the process of election. You have said what qualities you want in your representative. Now think and tell me, what qualities would you like in the election process? जो ये वोटिंग का तरीका है कि हम वोट देते हैं और चुनते हैं, ये प्रोसेस कैसा होना चाहिए? कैसा होगा तो तुम उस पर पार्टिसिपेट करोगे, तुमको उस पर भरोसा होगा. Prachi is saying it should be smooth. Okay, so I would say Prachi is saying it should be easy for people to participate. Okay, agreed. What else? What else? What else? Chand is saying, Chanda is saying there should not be pressure. So important. If there is pressure, if someone threatens you कि मुझे वोट दो, तो फिर वो तुम्हारा ओपिनियन नहीं हुआ ना, then the democracy is not successful. Prachi is saying there should be proper structure. Yes, because this is such a big exercise, big process, long process. So many people are involved. If the structure is not there, for example, if we conduct classes without a timetable, if I ask you to come to school to collect your textbooks without any planning, it will be a mess. We need a structure, correct? Chand is saying citizens should be free. Yes, and not be voting under someone, correct? Khadija is saying should work towards people's own opinion. Yes. Karthik is saying free and fair. Correct. All of you are right. Okay. Simply, we will say all your points can be grouped into 3 main points. And those points are the election process should be free, should be fair, and should be reliable. Should be free. That is what Chand and Chanda said. कि हमको किसी का डर नहीं होना चाहिए. Whoever we want to vote for, we should be able to vote for. Fair, माने it should be just. It should not be favoring someone. It should not be not favoring someone. अगर कोई इलेक्शन लड़ना चाहे तो वो लड़ सके. अगर कोई वोट देना चाहे तो वो दे सके. That is fairness. Because we are talking about democracy. If we are not free, if the process is not fair, then it is not democracy. And another important thing, which I think none of you articulated exactly like that, is it has to be reliable. हमको उस पर भरोसा होना चाहिए कि हाँ, मैंने जो वोट दिया है उसको गिना जाएगा. हाँ, मैंने जो वोट दिया है उसको कोई बदलेगा नहीं. Right? I should have the faith in that process. Free, fair, and responsible, and only then the election process.
Free.
Okay, so we all agree what democracy is. We all agree that we need representation for democracy. We agree on the broad qualities that our representatives should have. We agree that election is necessary for democracy to be functional. We have also agreed the broad qualities that the election process should have. The election process is also called as the electoral process. Just English. How do we do this? Who does it? That is the question that we need to answer next. And the answer is Election Commission. Election Commission is the group of people who ensure that our democracy has representation, our democracy has elections, And election commission is the group of people who conduct elections in our country. Election commissions in our country are at two levels. If you remember, there were certain things that we left in the previous chapter, and both those things, both those questions were about election commission. We are covering them now. Election commissions in our country are at two levels. One is at the national level, at the country level, which is called the Election Commission of India. Be careful. Election Commission of India is responsible for elections both at national and state level. So if there are elections for the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly, that is conducted by Election Commission of India. Recently, there was elections to the West Bengal Legislative Assembly. It was conducted by Election Commission of India. When we have the elections to the Lok Sabha, that is also conducted by Election Commission of India. So what does the State Election Commission do? And state election commissions, there are multiple, one for each state. They conduct the elections for local government. This also we studied in the previous chapter. Local government, it can be at a city level, town level, which is the municipality. In Mumbai, we have the BMC, MCGM. The election to MCGM, the election to BMC is not conducted by Election Commission of India. It is conducted by the Maharashtra State Election Commission. Similarly, in the villages, the panchayat is there, the block is there. So the elections to those things are conducted by state election commissions. ऐसा क्यों किया गया? Simple reason that just one organization that works from Delhi cannot do all the things. We studied another concept in the previous chapter, decentralization. सब कुछ एक जगह से होगा तो मुश्किल हो जाएगी, तो decentralize हम करें. So the Election Commission of India, which is in New Delhi, is in charge of the national and state level elections, whereas the state election commissions, which are there in each of the states, they are responsible for the elections of the cities, of the towns, of the panchayats. Please explore the websites that I have included here. The one URL which says https://eci.gov.in. It will take you to the website of the Election Commission of India. And the other link that I've shared with you is to the Wikipedia page. You will get some information about the Election Commission of India. Start reading about it. Similarly, you can also research about the Maharashtra State Election Commission. Do it on your own. So how is it the Election Commission is doing all these things? How does it derive its power? किसने उनको allow किया ये करने के लिए? Not the Prime Minister, not the President, not you and I. The power comes directly from the Constitution of India. Election Commission of India is a constitutional body. The concept of Election Commission has been written in Article 324 of the Constitution of India. If you remember, the Constitution of India is divided into various parts, articles, schedules. So in this article, which is Article 324, the details of how the Election Commission of India should be, what it should do, what it cannot do, everything is given. Most importantly, it says that the Election Commission is independent and autonomous. Independent, वो अपना काम खुद कर सकता है, किसी पे डिपेंड नहीं करेगा, किसी पे उसको डिपेंड करने की जरूरत नहीं. एंड ऑटोनॉमस मीन्स वो अपने रूल्स रेगुलेशन, वो कैसे काम करेगा, क्या करेगा, वो खुद डिसाइड करेगा. ऑटोनॉमस, जैसे कि हम होते हैं ऑटोनॉमस. we decide हम क्या करना चाहते हैं. Yes, we follow certain rules of the society, but our brain, which is in our control, we act according to our wishes. So similarly, the Election Commission is designed to be independent and autonomous. Here, I would ask you to remember this point, that it is required to be independent and autonomous, and pay attention during this session and during the entire chapter, and try answer this question. Is it really independent and autonomous? Is it? That we will have to try and figure out. I'm not answering it now. We will keep it to the last, where we will study electoral reforms. Is the question clear? I'm asking you to think कि बोला तो गया है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन इज इंडिपेंडेंट एंड ऑटोनोमस, लेकिन क्या प्रैक्टिकली वो ऐसा है कि नहीं? It's not an easy question to answer. But let us move. The most important slide for today's session. What is Election Commission? What is the structure? Very simple, extremely simple. There are just 3 people in the Election Commission of India, which is at the national level. Only 3 people, not one more. There are 2 election commissioners. We can call them EC. And there is one chief election commissioner, CEC. Let me correct this. One chief election commissioner and 2 election commissioners. Currently, those people are Sushil Chandra, who is the Chief Election Commissioner of India, and he works along with Rajiv Kumar and Anup Chandra Pandey, who are the election commissioners. This was a question that I asked you yesterday. Some of you answered. Sushil Chandra is the current Chief Election Commissioner of the country. Who appoints them? कौन decide करता है कि कौन बनेगा election commissioner? It is the president of the country. The president of India appoints, माने नियुक्त करते हैं, the CEC, the chief election commissioner, and the election commissioners. Is it really the case? Can you quickly think and tell me? Do we have a presidential form of government in India, or is it something else? Yes, you remember correctly that in India, we don't have a presidential form of government. We have a parliamentary form of government. So the president doesn't do anything independently. The president takes the suggestion from the parliament and specifically from the prime minister. So again, it is we, and we have elected our parliamentarians and our PM. So we decide who is our election commissioner, who is our chief election commissioner. Something very, very special about a chief election commissioner. This person cannot be removed easily and cannot be removed for political reasons. उनको हटाना इतना आसान नहीं, और उनको किसी राजनीतिक कारण के लिए हटाना तो impossible है. क्यों भला ऐसा? Why should it be like this? This election commission, the people, election commissioners, they run the election process. We said the election process has to be free, fair, and reliable. For it to be free, fair, and reliable, these people should be protected. वरना कोई भी इनको धमकाएगा कि तुम मेरी बात सुनो. So, to make the election process free, fair, and reliable, to make our democracy functional, we cannot remove the chief election commissioner easily, and definitely not for any political reason. So how will this election commission function? क्योंकि उनको तो election चलाना है, उनको election करना है, तो काम के लिए तो पैसा लगता है, कैसे करेंगे? So the constitution has made provisions कि उनको पैसे कहाँ से मिलेंगे, कैसे मिलेंगे, ताकि वो अपना काम करते रहें. किसी के सामने उनको हाथ ना जोड़ना पड़े, वो पैसा अलग से रखा गया. Once again, this has been done so that the election commission can be independent and autonomous. But how far we have been successful, that is a question that we need to ask ourselves continuously and evaluate the situation. But unka, so that they don't depend, their functioning is not hampered. Separate provisions have been made for their expenses. उनके खर्चे के लिए अलग इंतजाम किया गया है. Now here comes the most important thing. Election Commission doesn't have any staff. Staff means more people to work in the office, to help in the work. There is absolutely no staff of their own. There are just 3 people in the Election Commission. Election Commission of India. 1 Chief Election Commissioner and 2 Election Commissioners. Then how do they work? They take the help of other government officers. They take the help of teachers. They take the help of other employees of the government. You must have known कि जब भी elections होते हैं, teachers को उस काम पे भेजा जाता है. आपने कभी ये देखा है, सोचा है? Yes. Why is that happening? Because the Election Commission doesn't have its own people. Now you tell me, if this is the case, is the Election Commission really independent? Think. Don't tell me now. Just think. We need to continuously evaluate this. Is it independent? Is it autonomous? If it is not independent and autonomous, then how reliable is the election process? How can we make it better? Only then we will be helping our democracy. So remember this, structure wise, it is 1 election commissioner, 2 election commissioner, 1 chief election commissioner and 2 election commissioners. They don't have any staff. There is separate provision for their expenses. The CEC cannot be removed easily, and definitely not because of any political reason. And the appointment of the CEC and the ECs is done by the President of India on the advice of the Parliament, the Prime Minister of the country. Some very GK related. Who was the first Chief Election Commissioner of India? Mr. Sukumar Sen. He became a civil servant. He became an IAS officer before India became independent. And after India became independent, he was the first Chief Election Commissioner. The first election was conducted by him. He managed it. But the most famous Chief Election Commissioner that India has had is another person. His name is T.N. Session. I have included the wiki page for both of them. Do read, try understand what kind of people they were, what they have achieved, how they have achieved, and especially how Sukumar Sen conducted the first free and fair election, democratic elections in India, where so long ago, if you remember, after the constitution was adopted in the 1950, the elections were conducted from November to February, I think, from November 1950 to February of 1951, the first elections. How difficult would it have been for the first time? And when you read about T.N. Session, try to understand how much he has reformed the election process in India. Before T.N. Session, hardly anyone knew about Chief Election Commission of India. But after T.N. Session, everyone got to know. He made it important. He changed the election, how elections were carried out. He made many improvements. We will study them briefly when we read about electoral reforms. So we know that there is an organization, there is a commission which is called the Chief Election Commission of India at the national level, and we have similar organization at the state level, which will be called the State Election Commissions, who conduct, their main function is to conduct the elections. entire process, pura, and conducting the election is not an easy process. It has many steps. We may know certain things, we may not know certain things. The most visible part of the election process is when people go and vote. That is why when you see the process of election, when someone the voting, the step of voting has become synonymous with the process of election. Voting is just a step in the election process. In the next session, we will understand, right, what the responsibilities, what the functions and roles of Election Commission is, and how the elections are conducted in the next 2 sessions. Before we finish the session now, today, 2 quick questions, which are questions from your textbook, are coming to your screen. Think and type the answer in the chat box. The correct answers are, for question number 1, the election commissioner is appointed by the President of India. Ultimately, he or she is appointed by the President of India. Of course, the President does it on the advice of the Prime Minister, but the appointment is done by the President. The signatures that are required is that of the President. And question number 2, who was appointed as the first Chief Election Commissioner of Independent India? Of course, C. Sukumar Sen. C. Sukumar Sen.